Since the release of its first season back in 2018, it didn't take long for A Million Little Things to make a mark for itself on ABC. And with a fantastic cast of characters, coupled with some rather unexpected twists, this was really no surprise. But what do we know about the continuation of the franchise going forward? And will there be a season 5 to look forward to? For all this and more, stay tuned. First of all, how's the anticipated 4th season of A Million Little Things going? Although A Million Little Things will never be as popular as some of the other franchises run by ABC, it must be said that this latest installment has been able to bring in some pretty consistent numbers. Not exactly surprising considering the cult following that seems to come with the territory. And while shows like Grey's Anatomy and The Bachelor are outgunning it by far, this doesn't decrease the possibility of ABC renewing the beloved show for a 5th season somewhere down the line. As of right now, A Million Little Things is bringing in an average of around 2 million views per episode. Not bad considering the budget that ABC has allocated towards the completion of each season of the show. This is a solid decrease from season 1 though, which consistently brought in an average of around 3.5 million views per episode. That being said, the decrease in popularity of the franchise may have more to do with global circumstances than the loss of attention of its fan base. You see, the coronavirus pandemic has definitely left its mark on the economy, with many families still struggling to get by after having lost some, if not all, income due to the spread of the virus. And as you can imagine, the first thing to go in any panic is lavish services like network television. Unsurprisingly enough, this has resulted in the increase in pirated services, which really mess up the statistics of shows like A Million Little Things. So then, where does this leave the future of the show? It's really hard to say considering how season 4 of the franchise is only now nearing its end. And as we mentioned earlier, there's no other show that ABC can actually compare A Million Little Things to. Grey's Anatomy is a grounded title that's been running for years after all, and the same can be said about The Bachelor. But both of these franchises drew quite a bit of funds from the network in an attempt to make them as flashy as possible. Luckily for ABC, A Million Little Things doesn't require the same amount of support. In fact, the budget for the show is practically non-existent when you compare it to what the other ABC properties are being handed right now. But in the end, this is something that the network will have to decide for itself. As it is usually the case, ABC will look at the total numbers brought in as a result of the latest run of the franchise and compare it to the budget that was allocated to the show. If a profit is found to exist, then we have no doubt that A Million Little Things will be renewed for another season. As of right now, though, we haven't heard that the show is being canceled. And in the modern era, where some of the most popular shows have been canceled for the strangest of reasons, this is no doubt a great thing for the series. So here's hoping for a season 5. Before we get ahead of ourselves, though, do we know anything about episode 14? It's looking to be a big one, and fans have been theorizing online about just what the episode is going to be about. As of right now, we know that the latest installment is being called School Ties, and we have a feeling that it's going to answer some difficult questions about both Rome and Maggie. For those of you who haven't been paying attention to the 4th season of the franchise, Rome has been struck by an inescapable diagnosis of depression. Things got so bad for the man that he refused to get out of bed or call his therapist. But it sounds as if things are finally going well for Rome after Eddie and Sophie worked hard to make a physical version of his happy place in an indoor pool area. Now that he knows just how much his friends care for him, he may actually be on the road to recovery. But we have no doubt that Rome still has a long way to go, and considering how he's just called his therapist for help, we have a feeling things are about to get rather emotional for him. In the same breath, fans still have some questions about Maggie, who's off to Albany to face the mother of Justin, a patient who killed himself after developing feelings for her. It's a tough situation to be in, especially now that she's tied up in a crazy love triangle with Cam and Gary. And by the sound of things, series creator DJ Nash based these decisions on reality. He recently opened up about the decision to bring Rome's depression back, something that fans weren't too excited about in the long run. You see, Rome finally seemed to be doing great things for himself, and since he has always been one of the most beloved characters on the show, fans just wanted the best for him. But DJ Nash had other plans for Romany Malco's character, seeing the return of his depressive state in the mid-season finale. But according to Nash, this is something that needed to be done to give full representation to those who are currently dealing with depression. Gone are the days where feeling sad and having depression are seen as being synonymous with one another, and DJ Nash didn't want those suffering from the disorder to feel let down by Rome's experience. Surprisingly enough, Rome's experience was actually based on that of a crew member that Nash has a close relationship to. One of the show's writers came to him one day and informed the creator that his depressive episodes were flaring up again, despite the rest of the crew being none the wiser. This caused Nash to commission the mid-season finale arc of Rome, who too kept things hidden for as long as possible. In his own words, the series seemed like it was about one friend dying by suicide, but it is really about a life saved. And this was Nash's way of showing the writer that everyone is there for him. DJ Nash also recently opened up about the need to say goodbye to Delilah, another decision that fans of the show battled to get behind. Remember when Gary put a bag over Peter's head with the intention of killing him? Well, we later discovered that Gary had actually teamed up with Layla's dad when assaulting the schoolteacher, who now lies unconscious in the hospital. At the same time, Eddie is battling with his sobriety, especially now that he's invested in finding the woman who knocked him over, leaving him for dead. Suffice to say, there is more than a million little things being dealt with this season, and by the sound of it, Eddie is going to have one less person to confide in, since Delilah doesn't seem to be coming back anytime soon. After deciding to move to France to be closer to her own sick father, sobriety is going to be a lot harder than expected for Eddie. But if DJ Nash is to be believed, this is only a temporary change, with Delilah set to return towards the end of the season. Nash recently opened up about needing to have Eddie hit rock bottom after his obsessive behavior surfaced once more. In the previous season, he had promised to get himself under control, and since he's now risking the loss of Theo, things have never been worse for him. With Delilah now out of the picture, he only has himself to rely on, and in the end, this might end up being exactly what Eddie needs to improve himself. Last but not least, Romany Malco has become a dad, and he couldn't be happier. Just over a year ago, the successful actor, who is best known for his portrayal of Rome in A Million Little Things, said hello to fatherhood. And according to him, he never knew that he could feel so much love for something so delicate before. Funny enough, the man went on to become a father for the first time at 52 years old, something that is certainly not for the faint of heart, considering just how much energy children have. But he seems to be pulling off the role incredibly well. He famously wrote on Instagram that he has never been responsible for something quite as delicate and precious, and that the birth of his child will no doubt cause some changes in his life. Keep in mind that he's already a stepfather to 2 children, so it's not like he's completely new to the business. But we hope he stays happy and gets some sleep. And there you have it, everything you might have wanted to know about the world of A Million Little Things right now. What do you think of the future of the franchise, though? And will you be expecting a season 5? Feel free to let us know in the comments section down below.